Hello, class. So, we are here to study a new lesson from science, that is interdependence in nature. Interdependence, that means in nature we know that living things as well as non-living things exist. So, how the living things depend on the non-living things and how the non-living things depend on the living things, we will come to know. You all know that there are many non-living things around us. Living things include all the plants and animals. So how they are interacting in the nature, how they depend on each other for their existence or survival. So all this you will be studying in this lesson. So, by the end of this lesson, we will be able to describe how animals and plants depend on each other and on non living things for their existence. We will be able to explain how food passes from one living thing to another in a food chain. Then, we will be able to describe the importance of decomposers also. Now, let us go through the lesson. You all know that there are many living as well as non-living things around us. So which are the living things? Of course, plants and animals are the living things. So if we come to non-living things, we can say that air, water, soil and sunlight are non-living. But we have to understand here, in nature all the living things depend on both living and non-living things in many ways. For example, we know that animals need oxygen. Animals, including human beings, need oxygen from the air in order to breathe. So we take in oxygen from the air for the process of respiration, and we drink water. So now we can say that air and water are non-living things that is found in the nature. So all the animals and human beings also take in air and water, which are non-living things. If we come to plants, plants need carbon dioxide, water and sunlight in order to prepare their food. So without these components, it may be like carbon dioxide or water or the sunlight, plant cannot prepare their food. So plants need carbon dioxide, water and sunlight in order to prepare their food, which we call as photosynthesis. Animals depend on plants for food and shelter. Many plants depend on animals for flower pollination. Pollination means, you all know that for the process of seed formation, pollination has to go on. Pollination in the sense, male gametes will be there, female gametes will be there. They have to come closer, then only seed formation will go on. So the transfer of pollen grains to the ovary is known as pollination. And you all know that the seeds have to move from one place to another with the help of animals only. Animals, or it may be through non-living things. So plants depend on animals for flower pollination as well as for the dispersal of seeds. That is why we say that all the plants and animals, or we can say all the living things, are dependent on the non-living things, as well as non-living things are dependent on living things. We'll study further how living things depend on non-living things. So, which are the non-living things that is present in the habitat or in any environment? So usually we say that there are biotic as well as abiotic components in the environment. Biotic components means living beings. Abiotic components means non-living things. So, which are the non-living things or abiotic components that is present in the environment? That is air, water, soil, sunlight. All these are the abiotic components or non-living things which has to be there in the nature or in the environment so that the living things will depend on them. First of all, let us study about air. How air will help the living things in order to survive. All of you have already studied that respiration is an important phenomenon that goes on with all the living organisms. Respiration means the process of breathing. In order to breathe, all the living organisms will take in oxygen and they leave out carbon dioxide into the atmosphere or into the air. So, which is that important gas or which is that important component of air that is required for the process of respiration? Yes, of course, it is the oxygen. So, all the plants and animals need oxygen. Why do they need oxygen? In order to get energy from food during the process of respiration. Yes, oxygen is required for us to stay alive, isn't it? And other than that, oxygen is used in order to get energy from the food. So, during respiration, plants and animals will breathe in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. If we come to plants, do you think even the plants will take in oxygen? Of course, the plants also will take in oxygen for the process of respiration. So, oxygen is taken in by both the plants as well as the animals for the process of respiration or breathing. Plants will use carbon dioxide taken from the atmosphere in order to make their food during the process of photosynthesis. Now we all know how animals will use the oxygen. So plants, other than taking oxygen, they will also take a carbon dioxide in order to prepare their own food. That is, during the process of photosynthesis, plants will use carbon dioxide from the air. And by using carbon dioxide, they will synthesize their own food. That process is known as photosynthesis. So, photosynthesis means plants will make use of carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight from the environment and prepare their own food. So, during the process of photosynthesis, one more thing is important here. During the process of photosynthesis, plants will take carbon dioxide and they will give out oxygen. So, oxygen is given out. And that oxygen is used by the plants for respiration also. So, don't get confused here. For the process of respiration, both plants and animals will take in oxygen and they give out carbon dioxide. But in case of plants, during the process of photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is taken in and oxygen is given out into the air. Thus, both plants and animals require air to live. So, air is a non-living thing which helps both plants and animals for their survival. One more non-living thing or abiotic component of the nature is water. Water is very much important or it is necessary to all the living beings in order to carry out their life processes. Without water, the mechanism of the body doesn't go in a balanced way. Plants absorb minerals dissolved in water through their roots. Plants will use water to prepare food during photosynthesis. Water also helps in the dispersal of seeds of plants growing in or near water. So if we come to plants now, how the plants will make use of this water? So you all know that plants has got roots. So the roots will absorb the minerals which is dissolved in water for their growth. Minerals are very much important for the growth of the plants. So roots helps in absorbing the minerals that is dissolved in water. And henceforth the plants can grow properly. In the other way is plants will make food, or during the process of photosynthesis, water is an important component which is used in order to prepare the food. The other way is water also helps in the dispersal of seeds. Water helps in the movement of seeds of the plants from one region to another. So the seeds of the plants are carried away by the water or by the flowing water, and it is dispersed somewhere far away from the mother plant. So water helps in absorbing the nutrients, or water helps the plants to absorb the nutrients from the soil or from the water. At the same time, plants use water in order to prepare their own food. Water will also help the plants in order to throw the seeds, or in order to disperse the seeds far away from the mother plant. Several life processes in the body of animals require water. Now we have to study about how the animals require water. You all know that all the life processes, it may be like circulation, or it may be like respiration or digestion, everything goes on with the help of water itself. So water is required to carry food to all the parts of the body, or it is used in order to collect the waste from all the parts of the body, or it is also used in order to remove the waste from the body in the form of urine. So all these are the different examples to say that water is very much essential for the mechanism in the body, or water is very much important for the maintenance of different life processes inside the body of an organism or the animal. One more important component, abiotic component of the nature, is the soil. So all the plants will grow with the help of soil, and soil provides the plants with support. All the plants can stand straight, that is because of the presence of soil. So plants get water and minerals from the soil in order to make food. Soil also will provide shelter to many animals such as ants, centipedes, and earthworm. So many animals, or it may be like insects, small insects, or it may be small animals, will live inside the soil. They make burrows, isn't it, children? They make holes inside the soil in order to prevent themselves from danger. So we can say that all the animals take shelter inside the soil or in the burrows of the soil. They make burrows. For example, you might have seen rats or the moles or the rabbits which makes burrows inside the soil, and they live there in order to prevent themselves from danger, isn't it? All the animals depend on plants for food. All the animals will depend on plant for food. It may be directly. You all know that some herbivorous animals are there, which are directly dependent on the plants for their food, whereas carnivores and omnivores animals are indirectly dependent on the plants, because carnivores or the omnivorous animals will depend on herbivorous animals for their food. These herbivorous animals are dependent directly on the plants for their food. That means indirectly all the animals are dependent on the plants for food. So when animals and plants will die, their body will rot and get mixed with the soil. So this rotten body or the decayed body becomes humus in the soil, and this humus makes the soil fertile for the growth of plants. That is why from here you came to know that even plants and animals are dependent on the soil. On the other way, when plants and animals die, they join the soil and become humus, which adds to the soil, and thereby it makes the soil fertile, thereby helping the growth of the plants also. That is why soil is very much important for all the living organisms. So let us study about the sunlight, how it helps the plants and animals in order to survive in nature. Already I explained about photosynthesis. For the process of photosynthesis which takes place in plants, sunlight is an important component by which the plant uses the energy from the sun in order to make their food. So sunlight in the other way will provide warmth for the seeds in order to germinate. For the germination process, sunlight is very much important. If we come to animals, do you think animals need warmth or certain temperature in order to survive? Of course, yes. Animals also need the warmth of the sunlight for survival.